Hey guys, here we are on the Mel Carmine Show. I'm your host, Elisa V, and I'm here today with Tom Althouse, welcoming you back. How are you?
I'm excited to do this. This is really, really good. And I'm excited for the future that you're bringing change, you're allowing people to be heard that have been silenced. And it's really an important thing.
Yeah, this has really been a labor of love, this documentary. As Mel had said, we were just shooting the breeze and talking on one of our weekly roundtables a couple of months ago. And Mel said, what we need to do? We need to get a letter to President Trump to tell
Mm.
him that enough's enough and we need to stop all this censorship. And then one thing led to the next. And the next thing you know, he was full on writing and producing and directing. And then, myself and Carol Maureen Friesen came in to co-produce. And it's just been an amazing thing. And the best part is that we have 45 podcasters, voices, authors like yourself, people who've all been affected by this that have stepped up and been so supportive of this project by being in it. So first, a big thanks to you
Hmm.
for coming forward and being a part of it. So what's happening in your world, when it comes to censorship at this point in time?
Well, it's been an ongoing thing, of course, over 33 years. And that's one of the main tactics they employ the cabal does, especially in intellectual property theft and other things where they want the influence to be shut down of a party. They employ censorship, and they do it in such a broad stroke way and a very meticulous way to make sure your evidence is never shown, your voice is never heard, and to spin it on you to use their own sources, then to shut you down in a way where they dehumanize you. So that's basically what they do. It's basically what they do to terrorists.
Yes, and for our audience out there, Tom and I did a three-part series, I guess going back a couple of months, right? I think it was prior to the Quantum Summit in Cape Canaveral in March, so it probably goes back to like February.
Mhm.
Please look that up. You could, look it up on Mel's channel at XRPQFS Team on Rumble or mine, Elisa V Unscripted, and you really will catch yourself up on Tom's story, which is quite fascinating, disturbing, and just unbelievable what his whole story has been as the creator and writer of The Matrix. Not necessarily the one we were allowed to see,
Mhm.
but the one that was originally done and stolen from you. So anyway, you know that this movie, Dear Mr. President, was released to the public on September 9th, which is a couple of weeks ago, and here we are the next day witnessing, the assassination of Charlie Kirk,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Um, I feel like there's never coincidences that these messages, these important things that we're trying to get out there happen all at once. And of course, that was such a pivotal thing for so many people to see, see this man who's really been out there kind of as a fighter for free speech. For that to happen, and then kind of on the heels of us getting this movie out. But clearly, our battle with this movie is just starting. Like we released it, but now we are really looking to have it grow legs, have it get expanded all over. Wanted to tell you that we are going to be translating this movie into Spanish, French, German, Russian, Mandarin. I don't know if I left out any language. I think there's a couple of others. And what's so freaky about it, you'll appreciate this. We saw the Spanish part of this, the Spanish version yesterday. It's going to be up on the dearmrpresident.net soon. The AI is so scary. Not only is it the voice of all, everybody that's in this film, but the synchronization of speaking. Like remember the old Godzilla films, they would
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
translate them and the mouth would still be moving and the words would be different. This is seamless. So it's kind of weird seeing yourself if you don't speak another language, like see yourself speak a language. And technology's crazy. So talk a little bit about, I would say within the last 6 months, because anybody that knows your story knows the
Mhm.
unbelievable ways you've been censored. But what have been your observations, let's say over the last 6 months to a year?
Well, that's a very coordinated effort going on. I received a message from a Sophia Stewart who claims, that Warner Brothers hired And one of the messages was, they're coming for you. And so they're trying to build this Charlie Kirk thing into more of a, threat, blanket threat. And I said the same things Charlie Kirk was saying. And so it's like my mom said, look, I was thinking the same thing. But, what I want to do is be used for whatever I need to be used for to make the greater good. And what I've been seeing is them stepping up their attacks at the same time. Former hosts that I had been on were approached and rewarded if they would suddenly turn and talk me down. There's a guy named Steven Yassel who's been just like trashing and throwing every talking point now after being 2.5 years supporting. He's now running a whole channel just on trashing me. So it's an effort to shut us down with hired thugs that, are basically wannabes and they just don't stop. And that's their way. So besides censorship, they're throwing negative, like this kind of thing. And this is how long after the case was thrown. So they're attacking now the fine points they're afraid of coming forward, such as, the certified script. They'll have that Stephen Yassel hold this certified screenplay up and say he bought his own screenplay from the Copyright Office. Well,
That
that's
you did. This
yeah,
is
they're
what he's
claiming,
saying.
yeah, yeah, and it has tassels on it. So he's spinning the evidence into what Warner Brothers would want, which is, oh, he bought his pretty script and he has it tassels on it. It's like, no, you have to purchase the copy of your work that was entered years before as proof when needed. And so, see the spin? That's
Yeah.
how they spin it. So these kind of spins are going on, which means the other side's very desperate. And the best way to handle is all need to pull together and lift Charlie Kirk's family, lift each of the people that are under attack, and allow the censorship to stop and allow the evidence to be seen in each case and to allow our voices to be heard. And that's what you're doing. That's why I think this project's so amazing is you're hitting right back the way it should, but with a bullseye. Your team, Mel and you guys, right back with a bullseye. This is what we need to be doing is freeing up the flow of truth and evidence instead of these idiotic spinning talking points being thrown now.
Yeah. So, okay, so we got an audience, right? That a lot of people were very dejected, depressed, and saddened by what happened, with his shooting.
Mhm.
And, I think that's what they want, right? That's always been the thing, right? To keep us in fear, to keep us
Mhm.
feeling
Mhm.
like we're powerless. So what are some of one of the things I wanted to do with this little media blitz and a couple of things. One, we realized that anybody who was part of this film had 45 seconds, hardly enough time to really express, but enough to just give a sense of how you were affected. So that's why I'm inviting, I wanted you to come
Mhm.
on to talk
Mhm.
more to the point of censorship, what you see, how it's affected you. But I also wanted this to be an opportunity on the heels of this assassination for people. How do we inspire people to stand up against this? Not everyone is going to have a podcast, although I do highly recommend anybody that has a voice and something to be said. You just need a laptop or a phone and you're in business. But what are some of the things that you think, we can inspire and we can encourage people to not fall into that sort of pit of despair with what happened and what is happening every day with censorship?
I think if we fight back, I think that's what we need to do. You're right about the fear factor. That's exactly what they're doing is trying to instill fear. In fact, in that Walking Dead series, Fear the Walking Dead, I was just watching it as on a break to get some more information. And in it, they say fear is synonymous with evil. That if you get people to be afraid, then they'll do evil. That's their plan. That's their thought. I'm not saying I agree with that, but that's what they're trying to push. And they're trying to embed that in the psyche of humanity right now, current humanity. So I would say if these people that do all the damage that are hired in like low levels to censor and shout down and make absurd nasty comments to so many people, what people can do at any level, what they can do is answer back. Just go back, and these people are very insecure. They're very insecure they're doing this. That's why they bought into it to matter, as my sister had said, to be famous, to be important. They're like
15
they
minutes of fame. Yeah.
right. So if you shout that down, if you just make a message saying this is nonsense, or put a thumbs down on their trashing people, you affect them. You have such an effect because they do not have a solid psyche. They have a very vulnerable psyche, and that's why they do so much hate. So that fear and hate can be put back in its cage as far as the person doing damage across the planet, different ones, by answering back. So anybody out there can do that. If you hear of somebody who's being shot down, Charlie Kirk's family, for example, or somebody who's a podcast, or somebody who's intellectual property, say, and they've been trashed, and you've seen them trashed, put a nice comment. The other side can't stand that. They can't stand it. It really shakes them up, like it did my sister. When someone just put a like, they couldn't stand it. So if you answer back, you're dealing with very shallow psyches and they will crumble. They're thinking they're safe to do this. So on a very small level, very small playing field, you can cause a great effect by causing someone to crawl back down their hole. And I think that's what we need to do is not be distant. They try to tell us to just be distant and let it, don't get involved. Time to get involved. And that's what you guys did. It's time to get involved. Speak up for different people. Speak up for ones that are putting themselves in the firing line.
Yeah.
And you're protecting yourself at the same time.
Yeah, it's funny. It's so weird how the energy is starting to shift.
Mhm.
We went from feeling sort of hunted and victimized, right?
Mhm.
And just in a defensive mode, right? We went through that stage. Then we went through the okay, just ignore, use the old gray rock method, just don't pay attention. And you're the second person I spoke to today on a show saying, no, we the time to ignore is over. We're
Yes.
done with that. Now we have to start taking offensive measures. And I think that's so important because if you remember, back in 2020, people were afraid to wear Trump hats. They
Yep.
weren't putting
Yep.
signs on their lawn. Everybody was afraid. Why?
Mhm.
Because they were being berated, threatened. Actually, they were being vandalized. And, now I think as a collective, right? First of all, we know there's so many more of us who know what's going on, or at
Mhm.
least if we don't know what's going on, they know that it's wrong, what's
Right.
been done.
Right.
And that's so important. I love that. Just even what
Yeah.
you're doing. So these people, so to speak, that have these very weak egos, let's say, they are sort of the hired hand
Yes.
minions of the
Yes.
ones that, okay.
It's the go-to move. That way, the higher ups in like Warner Brothers and other places, agencies, they keep their hands clean by using eager beavers that are out there saying, "I'll do it," and they're promised rewards and honors, like Pat Robertson had said. So rewards and honors. My sister's one of them, and they're drunk on that. But they're also very scared of anything that's negative to them. And so instead of being the silent majority, we need to be the vocal majority now. So
Yes.
that's it.
Yeah. So do you want to tell a little bit more? Like you did mention that they have someone out there right now who is, you want to just give more information because I'd love to rally our audience to go and give like just give a whole bunch of thumbs down.
Yeah, if you look
Like,
up Tom Althouse with Stephen Yassel or Yassel, Yissel Missile, it's like YIS. It's a weird name, but
okay.
he kind of looks like the Abominable Snowman because it's like round
Mhm.
face. But anyway, he lives with his dad, but he puts his dad down, and he's one of those guys, like the basement guys, that
Yes.
just doesn't stop. So he's prime material for Warner Brothers to pick up with. And so if you look at his channel, Yissel Missile, whatever, Steve Yassel, you'll see the things where he's just on his Facebook, just one after another trashing.
And
And
this is on Facebook. This is on his
yeah, it's on Facebook, it's on YouTube. He's
Oh
flooded it.
wow.
They say he's gone off the deep end. So, yeah, a thumbs down would do a lot. It's already, I've known this guy for so long because he said he was my biggest fan. And then he totally flipped it when he got approached. So I said I couldn't work with him anymore because he was not being the material we needed. And so I said, I
Sure.
just want him to have a peaceful split. But he just went off the deep end. So, I mean, this is some way, just a thumbs down will absolutely affect it. It really does. You can try it out and see. It will. It'll
Yeah.
have an effect.
Oh no, I love that. I love that because it's about, the unity and
Yeah.
and and banding together. So go
Well,
ahead.
here's one too. I was going to say, look up
Yeah.
the episode where he says Tom Malthouse crowns the beast. He calls Roseanne Barr a beast. He's showing all these excerpts when I'm putting the crown on her birthday celebration, putting the crown on her head. So he turns that into something very, very bad and just trashes and trashes. I would love people to put a thumbs down on him on that one, and
Yeah.
it'll have an effect as he's in his dad's basement.
So he's not only, I mean, it's you, obviously, that is the target, but anybody that is in your wake, he's,
That's what they do. That's what they do. They go after anything like Roseanne Barr. If I was on Tucker, when I was supposed to be on Tucker, Carl's, he'll do the same thing. He'll go after anything. It's all about trying to shut down the influence. At the same time, Roseanne had what, 260,000 views on that one show we did, and this guy gets what? He's now gone from 20 views to 324. So he's been
Wow.
up by the players. They do that. They give you rewards. So it's
But
time to.
still, that's nothing compared to, right? I mean,
No,
it's
no.
overshadowed in so
Yeah,
many ways. It's
yeah,
very sad. I mean,
yeah,
listen, we do have to keep that love vibration because that's what's
yeah,
boosting everything.
yeah.
By the same token, we just can't stand around and always just kumbaya. We have to actually fight back and start to, you know, go against a lot of the evil that's happening, right? It's
Right.
time. It's
It
time.
empowers us to get our job done without their distractions. So it's like it really is effective. It's an effective tool. It's what they fear most because Warner Brothers hires failed people. And like the Wachowskis had failed everything they did. Keanu Reeves was failing in his career. This guy was failing at everything. I've known this guy personally that's done these attacks, is Steven Yeasel. But it's like, so they're very vulnerable when they bring them in, and that's how they control them, that
It's how they
vulnerability.
go after people in cults. They
Yes,
take them
yeah.
when they're at that low and they can control them.
That's right. And then they become feeling all powerful and drunk on power. And so what you do is by capping this back, they can rethink their situation when it's not
Yeah.
going just the way they is. They'll do it as long as it's safe. But when they feel like they're on the block being criticized, they will crumble. They
Yeah.
don't have the skin.
So what I want to do, if you're okay, if you don't mind, I'm going to show the trailer.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, we can't show the movie. However, everybody should know that if you go to dearmrpresident.net, currently now and going forward, the full-length film is for free. You can share it, you can watch it, you can have watch parties. We're still encouraging people to get together and take a look at this. Pretty soon, we're going to have uploaded, as I mentioned, the film in a whole variety of languages.
Mhm.
And we can get it out to people outside our country and fellow patriots. So I am going to share my screen.
Dear Mr. President.
Dear Mr. President,
Dear Mr. President,
Dear Mr. President.
Dear Mr. President,
Dear Mr. President, when did freedom of speech become a crime? In the land of the free, voices are vanishing, opinions are policed, truth is under fire. They say it's about safety, I say it's about silence. Who's watching the watchmen? Who's filtering your feed? Who benefits from your silence? From the classroom to the newsroom, from Silicon Valley to Washington, D.C., who decides what you can say?
censorship.
Censorship. Censorship.
the censorship.
Censorship. It's a much bigger threat to democracy than anything that we've seen in this country in the last 4 years, in the last 40 years.
Our First Amendment is under assault, not just by big tech, but by government agencies. Voices are being silenced.
A world without censorship would mean we can freely expose the elections and, of course, child trafficking. I believe the American spirit would kick in if they had access to the real information.
We've had channels taken down from nearly every form of social media. We knew when you uttered the term fake news that you were up to something different. We're honored to contribute to this documentary on censorship.
I have only one thing to ask. I just only want to see some accountability from somebody. Just pull that pin and throw that grenade already, buddy. That's all every American wants to see, is just some accountability for the crimes against us all. Thank you, sir. And long live the Republic.
Well, I will tell you, quite honestly, this has been quite an experience. I mean, we pulled together so many people with so many amazing backgrounds, different experiences, and even in those 45-minute clips that are in the movie, amongst the other information that's there, there's so many stories. Like when I was listening to them, I was like, oh my gosh, like just
Mhm.
the deplatforming, the demonetization. I mean,
Mhm.
we have been through so much. I know you've been through,
Mhm.
a ton. And I think that I think that we have to keep this moving, though. We have to really get this out because a lot of people really don't realize. I'll give you an example. I'm in a business networking group for my coaching practice,
Mhm.
and people don't even know what Rumble is. They're like,
Mhm.
what's Rumble?" And it's like where are people, you know?
Mhm. I think people need to realize too how interconnected it is and how quickly they can move when they want to censor someone. It's like what happened in my situation. As soon as our case was being thrown, we had paparazzi on Maui. Rick Leaks is one on Maui, lead paparazzi. He wanted to help, and so he took pictures of me and my son when everything was being taken away from us and the case being thrown, and he put it out when before LA Times, New York Times was all like excited to do this broadcasting. He said all 40,000 outlets that he was involved in were simultaneously shutting it down. He couldn't believe it, never seen it before. And that New York Times and LA Times, who had had their bureau chiefs on saying, like, don't go anywhere, we want to do your story. We're going to have two writers on this. Both agencies, their bureau chiefs, Ethan Smith and the other one, pulled it. Suddenly they're all crickets. And then when I called Smoking Gun, I called the general number, like the general number for Smoking Gun, and I got the owner, the guy who owns it, answered in a cold way. So it wasn't like a secretary call. It was like, "What do you want?" That's how he answered. And I'm like, "Well, this is Tom. Yeah, I know who you are. You don't have a story." Before I said who I was, he knew who I was and picked up that call. It wasn't a receptionist. And so what happened was they have this shut down in such a big way, top down, on what they fear the biggest story that might change our world in the direction it's going by having patriots and others have a voice and influence. So mine's buried. Mine's completely buried. And then they send the people to tell you that no one's going to care. No one's going to watch the film. They have Sophia Stewart saying that. No one's going to watch it when you make it. Sure, they will. They'll watch. So we're coming back now, but I want to help others come back too, because they can shut it down overnight. All 40,000 outlets in the media.
So what do you do? Tell everybody now. We know the story that happened in the past with the Matrix and that whole, theft and beyond, to say the least. What's happening? Give us a sense so the audience knows what you're doing now, because nothing has stopped you, Tom. I mean, you're
Oh,
just an inspiration for everything you've been through, and you just keep fighting.
thank you. Well, it's thank you. And the FBI is very much involved. We need to realize they're not the good guys. Watch the FBI do every investigation, every cover up, even Charlie Kirk's shots were covered up by the FBI. They're there to shut it down. That's what they did with me. The FBI has put a false report on me that I was put away at a Lenape Valley Crisis Center. I wasn't. I was never put away in a Lenape Valley Crisis Center. But they have it. They have the records not existing there. But the FBI has fabricated records to say that I've been put away at a place I wasn't put away. Therefore, I'm not allowed to have any weapon to protect myself, or a $60,000 fine and everything else. I was contacted by the eight arms government association to tell me that I can't have self-protection. So the FBI are cowards. What they're doing is they're working with Hollywood and making sure we don't have self-protection, making sure that they're taking away our rights, that we don't have due process. They really are the villains in the American story. And it's time for that to change. Fortunately, the CIA seems to be actually helping now. There's a lot of movement right now, a lot of player activity going on, and people are deciding which side to be on. That's why this project you're doing is so important. But right now, the best thing people can do is what the paparazzi told me: stay alive. Just stay alive. If you have your voice, stay alive. Keep your voice going. That's what they do not how to account for in their playbook. That's basically really what it is. Don't give up. And find others you can trust, because they're going to try to break your feeling that you can trust anybody. Don't give into that. You can find people you can trust. Just don't let it be their people.
Yeah. Wow. Such an unbelievable thing. Well, we've got another, I'm actually working on something else locally here in New York, because New York has traditionally not really stepped up for whatever reason, whether it's spells, negative energy, it's just the control systems that are in place here. But we're doing the New York Awakening Summit here, which was actually put together by a woman named Donna Ferrara, who just had it with just everything and wanted to bring together a lot of voices. So a lot of the same voices that were at the Quantum Summit in Cape Canaveral. You know, we've got Kerry Cassidy, we've got Laura Eisenhower, Mike Barra, Heather Holmes. We actually have JP Missions. If you've ever watched Dr. Michael Sala,
Mhm.
he's coming. Gosh, I hope I didn't leave anybody out. Ray, I'm having a blank on his name. I'm so sorry, Ray. But we've got this group. So it's going to be a little bit more going towards the dark forces and, you know, some of that disclosure that has been shut down for so long, a lot with the children and what's been
Yeah.
happening with them. So that's taking place up here in Suffolk County, New York, Long Island on October 4th and 5th.
Dude, that's so amazing because Long Island's where I pitched the screenplay to Lenny Coco, and I had a lady who was connected, I think, with this thing, who talked to me on the phone and said, "Yeah, definitely submit. Here's the email. My email never went through. I resubmitted. My email never went through." She said, "Send me the stuff." I did. It never went through. I never was able to make the contact again. So I was actually contacted to be part of a conference like this one, and it's like I can never get through. So yeah,
And that's where it all started on Long Island.
Long Island's where it all started with the Matrix. That's where I was on Long Island pitching it. So it's a perfect match. But every time I submitted and they were all excited, and I just sent it in, I couldn't get it to go. I couldn't get it to go.
And that was the beginning of
That's
the
what being, yeah, that's what it
whole
was.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I want to thank you for what you do. I want to thank you for your tenacity, your bravery, for just being out there for so long, bringing awareness. Because at the end of the day, everything, look, there's so many things that were done to you, but at the end of the day, it was about silence. You know,
hmm
like
hmm
it was about
hmm
silence and silencing you and your message and who you are and the harm they did to your family. And you just keep going. And I think that in and of itself should be an inspiration to the audience that there's always something we could do. But I would say let's check out that individual site and give a lot of thumbs down to it. What's the name again?
Steven, it's like Steven Yassel or Yessel or yeah, it's like Yessel or L,
Okay.
yeah. Anyway, you'll see it. And just look up where he says Tom Oldhouse crowns the beast and it's Roseanne Barr thing. I think that needs to be thumbed down like crazy in his channel. Yeah.
Yeah, awful.
All right.
All right. Well, anyway, hopefully we're going to speak soon
All
again,
right.
and you're going to keep us abreast of all the things you're working on.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
once again, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, and thank you for being part of Dear Mr. President.
My pleasure. Okay. Thanks so much, Lisa.
All right. Bye-bye.
Freedom. We just want freedom now. We just want freedom now. Scripts of the movie.